This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am joined today by this wonderful young gentleman, Andrea Graneris, who is joining us from the House of Borgogno. For those people unfamiliar with the House of Borgogno, would you mind explaining a little bit about where you are exactly and what is it you do?
Absolutely, absolutely. So first of all, a short introduction about me. I'm an export manager and brand ambassador of the winery, and I represent this brand worldwide. Talking about Borgogno, Borgogno is located in the northwest side of Italy, specifically in the region of Piedmont, but more specifically in a smaller area which is called Langhe. Borgogno was founded in 1761 thanks to Bartolomeo Borgogno, which was a local farmer. And let's say that this was a little bit unusual for the time, the meaning to be a farmer, because most of the wineries that we have in our area, which were founded such a long time ago, were founded by nobles, by kings, by marquises, not for sure by farmers. But let's say that Bartolomeo was kind of a genius, and he understood before the others the potential and the opportunity about bottling and selling wines. First of all, locally, and then, of course, also outside the Italian borders. We have many important steps, many important moments in our history. One of the most important is for sure in 1861, so just 100 years after the foundation of the winery, when during the celebratory dinner of the unification of Italy, a toast was made drinking Barolo Borgogno. So a very special moment for us as Italian, and a very special moment for Borgogno for sure. We had in total 5 generations of Borgogno family. So we started with Bartolomeo, the founder, and we finished with Cesare Borgogno, which in 1920 take over the winery, bringing very important innovation. So first of all, he started to export the wines also outside the Italian borders, especially in the Argentinian market, in the Scandinavian country, and of course in the US market. But the very best decision he took was the fact that for every great vintage of Barolo, he voluntarily decided to forget at least 20,000 bottles in the cellar to age for at least 20 years. Thanks to this decision, today Borgogno has probably the largest library collection of back vintages of Barolo Riserva in the entire area of Barolo.
That's very unusual, right?
It's very unusual because you know that putting wine on a side is like putting money on a side. That's why it's so unusual. So today we are one of the few wineries which can sell back vintages like 1961, 1967, 78, 82, 85, 88, and so on. Of course, the best vintages. And this is for sure a unique treasure that we want to preserve for as long as possible. And that's why all these wines are sold through a location. So at the beginning of the year, the owner give us the possibility just to sell a few amounts of these bottles. And of course, we are giving continuity to this process. So also today, every year, the biggest part of the Riserva is not released immediately, but we release it at least 20 years later.
What are the oldest bottles that you have in the cellar right now?
How many?
No, sorry, the oldest.
The oldest today we sell is 1961, but the oldest we have, which is not for sale, is the 1886, which is a bottle with a black label, which is called the Barolo Storico, so the historical Barolo. And we have it on a shelf behind a glass because it's for us it's like the Graal, you know?
I was about to say the Holy Grail, yes, for sure, for sure. At what size is the winery today? How many How many hectares of land do you farm from? And what's your production size?
So today, Borgogno is a winery with 43 hectares in total.
Yep.
The biggest parts are vineyards, 34 hectares, more or less, plus 8 hectares of wood. This is very important, especially for a single vineyard that we own, because the wood is useful, especially in the last years where we have quite higher temperatures due to the global warming. The wood is useful for us to lower the average temperature that we have in the vineyards. So 43 in total, 8 of wood, 34 of vineyards, 10 hectares of Nebbiolo, 12 hectares of Barbera, a little more than 3 hectares of Dolcetto, less than a hectare of Freisa, 2 hectares of Riesling, and 7 hectares of Timorasso, for a total production which is today between 225,000 and 250,000 barrels a year. Of course, working mainly, let's say 99% of the wine, only indigenous varieties.
Now, I have visited the winery. It's quite a historical winery itself, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Borgogno is quite famous also for being one of the few producer left still just in the middle of Barolo. Barolo, as you know, having been there, is quite a small town. We are talking about no more than 1,000 inhabitants. And so it's really small, but our historical building built in 1761 is still there, and is just where we operate and when we have all the processes, all the vinification processes happen.
Well, I remember I was in Barolo and we walked to your winery quite easily from the town square.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which was quite something.
There's not a lot of traffic in Barolo.
No. I have a bottle of wine here, which has just been released in the Ontario market.